Hi, I'm Dave Mecke, and you're watching What's Your Story, where you'll meet interesting people doing interesting things in interesting places you'll never see anywhere else. And here's today's story. Today we're talking to Chandler Thomas, who's doing some amazing things in the addiction recovery community. And coming up is a huge event that she's put together herself with a lot of help, but she's the spearhead. Let's talk to Chandler. Okay, we're talking to Chandler Thomas today, and she's doing some fantastic stuff for the addiction recovery community. She's only 24 years old, which is amazing to me. But you've been through a lot, and so now, from what I understand, you want to try to pay back?
Mm-hmm.
So what is this organization that you've created?
So I was brought into it last year. It's called Stepping Stones, and then it's comprised of Friends of Drug Court. That's like what we call ourselves.
Friends of Drug Court.
So most of them are people who have either graduated drug court previously, or they're people in the criminal justice community, such as like attorneys or people who work for criminal justice services. We have a couple of people who like sponsor us that are part of the board. One of them, her name's Patty Johnson from SMU Still, so they're a really big like sponsorship for us.
So you said you were brought into it. So you became part of a larger organization?
It had already existed. I was just doing school in my own life, and then I was asked to come speak at a graduation, and then the girl who had asked me actually moved to Ohio, and so she needed her board seat filled, and so I was asked to fill her board seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've worked in the addiction recovery program, so I'm really familiar with what that's all about. And that's probably why I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah.
I want to find out a little bit more about that. But most importantly, we've got a big event coming up.
Right.
That you've created.
Helped create, yes.
Spearheaded.
Yes.
With a lot of help. Tell me about that.
So it will be August 20th here at Liberty Park. It's going to start off with a 5K run, so we'll lap the park twice. Well, a little bit more than twice, I believe, to make 5K.
This is a big-time jogging park. This is like the jogging capital of the West.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's very
So twice around the park.
Twice around the park.
Okay.
That will start at 9 a.m. Registration is at 8, and then there will be bouncy houses and a lunch and stuff for like families and kids after the run. And then that will wrap up about 1, and then it will go into a recovery benefit concert. And so we have 6 bands coming that will participate in the concert.
6 bands?
6 bands.
Wow.
And they're each going to do about hour sets, so it'll be about a 6-hour concert.
That's like an addiction recovery palooza.
Yeah. Exactly.
6 bands, how long?
They'll each do about an hour set, so about 6 hours.
Wow. Beginning at what time?
1:30.
1:30. And what's the cost for that?
$20.
$20? That's just for the concerts?
Just for the concert,
Okay,
and then the
good.
run is $20.
Yeah.
So they're on the same day, but separate events.
Yeah. And what are you going to do with the $20 you're getting from all these people?
So that's a really good question. So we're trying to create an aftercare transitional program for people who are coming out of drug court. So some people continue on after they get out of drug court and they do really great. Some people don't. There's a lot of relapses, recidivism with reoffending, but even more so, there's a lot of overdoses. And people, especially people who have had long periods of clean time, when they use the same amounts, or they don't really understand how much they're using in comparison to what they used to use, they die from it. So it's kind of not serious. So
do you actually have kind of an addiction recovery group?
So right now I run a group at Criminal Justice Services every other Tuesday. So it's an aftercare group, but it's actually for people who are about to graduate drug court. So it's kind of like a preparatory, I guess, type group.
Yeah.
So we're preparing them. We kind of like process what they're nervous about or what they're excited about for graduating, what their plans are, how they plan to deal with things. One of the really great things about drug court that I'm sure not everybody loves when they're in there, but it's a good thing, is that they get the structure. So they have to go take UAs, they have to make their court dates to check in, they have to go to groups. So they kind of have like a structure in place that they end up doing really well with, because if they don't follow like the rules, then they're gonna go back to jail or like they have consequences for them.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, it's never fun. Right. And so so my hope is that if we can create the program as a transitional service / aftercare service, that once they've completed drug court, they'll still have like that transitional to like have structure that's continued instead of just kind of being cut off and here's your life, here's your freedom.
Yeah.
But here's no more structure, no more like definitive support.
And that takes place over how long?
It would kind of be open-ended, so yeah, would be like a service that is just provided for them. So it's not exactly going to be like this is a 30-day program that you complete. It's kind of just like the transitional support.
Is the structure of the meeting kind of an AA type thing, or?
No, I run it how I ran my aftercare group at a treatment center I used to work with. So I have people like check in and identify like how they're doing, what they're struggling with, and then I usually come with some sort of topic that we discuss. So last time I did it, what did we discuss last time? Oh, what they had lost during their addiction and what they had gained back from being sober, is kind of like a realization to that this is, if you can go back to this behavior or similar behaviors after completing, this is all the things that you've worked for that you have to lose again.
Right.
So yeah, it's a really good group. Yeah.
So you've been doing this for a relatively short period of time, so you don't have a huge track record to look at, but what are you noticing as kind of the trend in the percentage of the success that's taking place with what you're doing to this point?
That's a complicated question. So drug court itself is a very effective program. Like it's a lot, like taxpayers' money is a lot more effective going through drug court than it is like jailing people and putting people in prison. Like they're actually getting like help and treatment and things that they need to like reintegrate into society, and not just like, oh, you got locked up with all these people and now we're setting you free and you're going to continue the same behavior.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my bachelor's in psychology, and it's really interesting because it's like so like counterintuitive. Like it's kind of like an oxymoron to lock people up who all have the same mentality, and you're not offering them any way out.
Yeah.
So our program, like Stepping Stones, they've been doing like events for people in drug court, and they've like offered kind of like a peer-based support. So people who've graduated drug court like go back, and they're like there to offer people who are current clients in drug court help and like support. If they're having like trouble, like kind of someone to talk to, stuff like that. So that's been going on for like many years. Like I'd say like I think it's 15 years, where they've done the peer-based support, and they do like events like an Easter party. They were doing a Ride for Recovery and some other events. They kind of brings the recovery community, but especially people in drug court together.
Yeah.
Every year. So like they have the Christmas party and the Easter party and trunk or treat. So they do kind of all those things every year. So this year we wanted to do something a little bit different, that we could try to involve more people in the community and bring it to be more of a community aspect instead of just like the addiction aspect, but as a community aspect and raising awareness of addiction. And we're trying to like do the transitional care is more of a new thing. So we don't have a lot of track, because that's kind of like my end goal for where we're moving right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, really, the general public needs to know. They think this is all about kids that come from broken families and whatnot, but they're coming from good families, religious families, and every walk of life, people you would never expect, and this is a bigger problem than anyone would guess. Yeah.
So like my parents are LDS. My mom was a doctor. I'm privileged, so to speak. And I was addicted to heroin and cocaine for many years. So yeah.
How many years?
I used heavy, so I started cocaine at 15, heroin at 16.
Wow.
And then I finally got put in drug court at 19. And then I've been clean since 21.
Well, good for you. Yeah. That's good. I've noticed a lot of people who have had addiction problems and recovered, have gotten into that business of helping others with their addictions.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that.
I think it's pretty common.
Yeah.
I went to school for this, so I'm like licensed to be a counselor and for substance abuse.
Good.
And then I'm finishing my bachelor's right now. But I think that for me, a lot of it is giving back. Like I feel like I speak to a lot of my clients and I'm like, I understand where you're at. Like, what can we do so you're not there anymore?
Yeah.
It's not that people who don't have experience aren't like good counselors or therapists, but I think that it kind of gives you a little bit different outlook on how you relate to them and really understand what they're going through, and that it's like a very painful disease to suffer from.
Yeah. So this is a big event that's coming up. Repeat it for me because it's a kind of a long title, but this is a great opportunity for all of you to become aware of what might be happening in your neighbors' homes or even in your home. Right?
Yes.
Okay. What's the name of it?
So it's a Embrace Recovery 5K run and Embrace Recovery concert. So they're same day.
So
different
basically,
events.
Embrace Recovery.
Embrace Recovery.
And there's
yes.
a 5K run.
Yes, and then concert.
And the 6-group concert.
6-group concert. Yes.
Awesome. Good. And we've got we're putting a link down below that will take them to where they can get a flyer
Yeah.
that explains everything.
Yep.
Times, costs.
Yes.
It's not gonna be free.
No.
The concerts, we have, the people have to get paid to play, right? So, but it's not a lot. $20
$20 per person. Yes.
per person to come see 6 concerts. Sounds
Yeah.
like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too. I hope so.